Welcome to MotorInc First. It's our new segment and you'll see what it's about in a minute. Karthik has just returned from driving the new Maruti Jimny, Not Gypsy, and we're going to find out more about this car. So why not call it the Gypsy?
I actually don't know what the real reason is, but if you go with current trends, I think it's to be appropriate.
Jimny as the word that defines a certain class of people, that kind of thing?
Gypsy, you know how Enid Blyton books are being rewritten today so that they are, not classist or anything like that.
Right.
Right. So I think maybe Gypsy might have a certain connotation which they're avoiding.
Interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
I don't know if that is the real reason, but it's not Gypsy anywhere. It's Jimny everywhere, and I think the name is it fits the car nicely. It's a cute, it sounds like a cheerful name, and that's what the car even seems like.
You know, whenever somebody uses the word cute in the context of something, I keep remembering that the dictionary definition is ugly but adorable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we won't go into that.
Let's focus nice. So many kids just got destroyed. It's so cute.
Yeah, cute officially is ugly but adorable. And on
that
children,
is cute.
Yeah. Most of us are going to drive Jimnys in the city. But a lot of the conversation was about its off-road performance, so we'll come to that last.
Sure.
So let's talk about you and Jimny, family, dog, and you're out and about in the city. What's the experience going to be like?
Okay, I'm going to start with the first thing. I was not excited about the Jimny because I have learned over time that no matter what you do, if you take a body-on-frame vehicle, right, and you expect it to behave car-like, you expect it to be absolutely civil, it's not going to happen. Right, so there was this hope and there were these expectations that it would be like a Brezza to drive. You know, it'll feel very friendly on road. I had no such expectations.
Okay.
You know, any vehicle that you take with DNA, which is as focused as this, it's meant to do a particular job.
Right.
Which we'll talk about.
Which is
later.
to destroy the Thar.
Which is to okay, we'll get to that later because I don't think that benchmark will come up again and again. But is it the real benchmark?
The real benchmark is the Brezza.
On road for a lot of people it will be. No. On road actually it will be the Brezza. No.
Elevate, Seltos, Sonnet.
Brezza.
Damn it, there's too many SUVs out there.
He remembered so many names, is amazing.
That's because I've been making jokes on my Twitter about them. Okay, let's focus on the road experience. Yeah. So you're a family person, you obviously drive the car like a family guy, right? You're driving to office and on the weekend you take the family out for a meal or to the nearest hill station or whatever. What's the road experience like?
First and foremost, what kind of family, right? Okay. If you're a young family, young couple, a child, two kids getting in the back, no problem.
Okay.
Right? But if you're a family with two adults, two grandparents, a child, something like that, will this be practical? No. This is strictly a four-seater.
So it's that small?
It's narrow. It's narrow. That's part of its core DNA. So if you're expecting an SUV and truly an off-roader like the Jimny to be a replacement for the Brezza, it's not going to be.
So why do you say that the core DNA is a narrow car?
So that'll go into the off-road conversation. So.
Okay, so we'll come back to why you say that it's narrow and there is a reason for that. Okay, right. So in terms of space, you're saying it's not the most spacious car you're going to buy.
It's a four-seater.
And nuclear families, especially urban young nuclear families, you'll be great.
They love it.
Right.
Because it's a statement, right? And you think about it, it's actually more expensive than the Brezza. But for that, you're getting something which is on-road, it's friendlier than the Thar.
Okay.
Right? It's lighter, so it's a big advantage for it. It's a complete covered body. It's not. The Thar is essentially a open-top vehicle with adaptations for it to be covered, right? So it doesn't offer you the same car-like experience because of that, which the Jimny does.
Right.
It is a vehicle you can just lock and walk away from without thinking twice.
You mentioned that it's going to be body on frame and everybody was hoping that it'd be monocoque so it'd get more of a car-like feel, but it's not. So does it have that judder and shudder that we associate with?
No, that's the thing. It doesn't have that. It doesn't feel as bouncy. But does it have roll? Yes, it has roll. Right. Does the steering feel lazy? Yes, it feels lazy.
So there will be some passengers who will still need avomine to go up into the mountains.
I have some passengers at home who need it irrespective of what vehicle they're in.
Right.
In this, for sure, they would need that. Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying comfort levels are very good for a body on frame. It's for a small family. It's a great car to drive. Okay. Is it fun to drive in the road context? Okay, you've answered the question, I think.
It's an experience, right? When you're sitting in something like that, knowing what all it can do,
Right.
There's this different kind of chill that you get, right?
Right.
It's not about going fast. It's about, hey, let's take it easy. And that's the mood that the Jimny prefers.
So it doesn't
on
like
road.
to go fast.
Yeah.
In the sense, it will go reasonably quick, but it's not like a fast car.
And on that front, there are certain things that people will and should know that they will have to adapt to.
Right.
Because given that it's an off-roader, right? There are certain differences. This is a 1.5 liter engine that we've used before from Maruti, right? The K15B.
But this is the older.
Correct, is the B. Right now, the current one in use is the K15C, but we used the B earlier, right? It's still in use. The thing is, because it's been adapted for off-road, there are certain differences.
Right.
The clutch is meant to be more durable, so the clutch action itself is heavier.
Right.
The gear shift is heavier. The gear lever itself is thicker, bulkier.
So it feels like a more robust car, but not therefore the easiest car to drive.
Exactly. Like if you drive the Brezza today, I mean, I've said it, right? I don't feel the need for an automatic with the Brezza because the clutch is so light.
Right.
The gear shifts are so light. You just put it in third and it just motors on.
So does that give you a sense of some occasion about driving it, or does it feel like, oh, this is a lot of work?
I'm not the kind of person who says, I want to feel the shift, feel manly. No, I want it to be easy and convenient.
Right.
So if somebody was looking to get the Jimny, my straightforward recommendation is get the automatic. Because even though this is the old 4-speed automatic, it's peppy. Somehow they always manage to tune it.
Yeah, Maruti does gearboxes amazingly. Yeah.
It's I don't know how it happens. It's just a 4-speed gearbox, but it works just fine. And I tried it off-road and I thought that's where it'll struggle, right? But it was just peppy.
If you think about it, if a Maruti gearbox starts breaking, and I'm not saying that they break, but if you had third gear left on most Marutis, you'd still have enough gears to get around the city. You'd never need anything else.
This has 4 anyways. On that note, another thing to keep in mind is that the Jimny for India is the 5-door, right? So it's a bigger vehicle. It's longer by about 350 millimeters.
350 millimeters. Wow, this much.
That's you've been generous. So it's significantly longer than the global 3-door version.
Right.
It's 110 kilos heavier given the additional length. But interestingly, despite being that much longer, with the spare wheel at the back, it's still under 4 meters long. So it's really that small a vehicle.
So they can't make a 1:12 scale model of the Jimny, sorry. Because it'd be just too small. It won't fit into your collection. Okay, no, we're making too many size jokes, so let's go away from that. You've said as a family car, it's not going to be the easiest thing to drive in terms of effort, but it's not going to be a car you won't enjoy driving either.
See, it's a great second car. Because if you assume that you're going to be spending, specifically, if you want one all-rounder, if you're going to do frequent, once a month, you're going to make a long-distance trip, is this the ideal car to travel long distances? No.
So can you justify this purchase saying we chose this car as a more lifestyle-y choice and we gave up some of the practicality and ease of use cases, and that's what we selected?
Absolutely. I think that is what is needed a lot. See, think about it like this. We are not a convertible country.
Right.
The off-roaders, these like the Thar and the Jimny now, are our convertibles, right? They are an expression of our individuality, of that need to break out from the norm, right? To deal with a little bit of inconvenience for a sense of, hey, this is fun and exciting.
To stick our children out. To stick our children out the roof.
Not sunroof, convertible.
Hell, there's no restriction of the sunroof. You stick your child out from whichever part of the car you feel like. So just for the record, since I don't know who's going to watch this and what they're going to take away from it, children are meant to be inside the car, belted up in booster seats, child seats, whatever they are, not meant to be sticking out into the wind.
Yeah.
Since we brought up children, what's the safety rating of the Jimny? Because I know that this is a Maruti conversation, so that question's going to come.
Yeah. What's the line? Sorry, I keep forgetting. What is it? Tin can. Tin can.
Tin ka dabba, and translated into English, tin can, yes.
Anyways, so the 3-door version was crash tested, and that was 3 stars or so.
Euro NCAP, not GNCAP.
Yeah, no GNCAP.
No, because Euro NCAP's tests are more stringent and there are more tests in there than the global NCAP.
The India spec version, I don't think it has been tested yet. So,
but since it's on sale, it would have been crash tested anyway.
So every car on sale in the country today has to do a mandatory crash test.
So the Jimny would have already passed a 55 km/h test.
Yeah.
And when this basic platform was tested as the 3-door at Euro NCAP, it received 3 stars.
Right.
So that's all we know on the subject until global NCAP acquires the Jimny, takes it there and tests it. Okay, fair enough. So we'll move on. There's not much to add.
Another thing to remember is that people who've used Marutis and also people who haven't, but the conversation often revolves around mileage. In this case, it's not going to be a frugal car, right? It's, I think their claimed figure is just under 17 kilometers per liter. So if you're going to go traveling in this, it's not going to be the Maruti that gives you 18, 19 kilometers
So
per
if you compare it to a Breza's claimed ARI number would be what, in the early 20s?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And this is 17.
Yeah.
So there is quite a bit of a gap there. So assuming if you take the numbers of the Brezza and extrapolate, then you'll get about 5 kilometers per hour less in your driving on a Jimny.
Yeah, easily.
Okay, so far the case that you've built for the Jimny suggests that as a lifestyle choice, it's interesting. As a easy to drive car, not very interesting. As a large family's car, also not very interesting. For a small car family, maybe nice. Safety should be okay. And mileage isn't great. Which obviously means that it does something else exceptionally well.
I think it does two things exceptionally well.
Okay.
I think the Persona is, I love the fact that it's not intimidating.
Okay.
Right? It's its dimensions, it's its design. It's like a scaled down G-Wagon, you know?
So that's why you can't build a scale model because it's already scaled.
Yeah. This is the scale model of the G-Wagon.
So don't you think that because of the fact that we are aspirational car buyers by and large in this country, the smaller size of the Jimny will cause issues?
For sure. I think a lot of the people buying the Thar are buying it for its intimidating persona.
I thought the Thar size was not an aspiration thing, it was a compensation. And okay, forget it. You tell me what the size issue with the Jimny is.
We know a couple of people who've got Thars, so hello guys. Anyways.
It was not meant to be directed at people, man.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so definitely it will be, it will limit the appeal of the Jimny in some ways, especially given its price, which is more than the Thar. Right, it's more expensive than the Thar. It's only got the top two variants on offer.
Right.
The Thar's, but the Thar very cleverly now has the rear wheel drive, right? Diesel engine, which is smaller than 1.5 liters, so it's getting all the tax breaks. Whereas the Jimny, even though it's under 4 meters in length, doesn't get any tax breaks because the petrol engine is 1.5 liters.
Correct.
Right, so it's ended up being more expensive. People were being hopeful that it would start at 10 lakh rupees. That looked tough.
So this is, you're saying, an expensive purchase, the Jimny. For what you get for it, it is an expensive purchase.
For its size, straight up. I think people will really experience the value and the beauty of the Jimny when they take it off-road. That is when you will, it's magical.
So 99% of the people will never see the true value of the Jimny.
No. I think in that sense, for most people, the Thar will be the better option, right? You're getting a diesel. You can get a more powerful diesel if you want, which is better for long distances. Is the Thar more comfortable for longer distance? I don't know. It is bouncy, right? Even the rear wheel drive. But you do feel that rush because of the performance that the Thar has to offer, the size that it has. It's an obvious statement.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about the SUV 4x4 situation, because what you're basically saying is neither of these two reasonably affordable SUVs are really everyday use comfortable SUVs. Can that actually happen on a body-on-frame, or you need a monocoque to get that to work?
I don't know of any proper 4x4, anything that claims to be hardcore 4x4 that is excellent on road. Even Range Rovers have to compromise at some level with all the tech and everything on offer. Can a Range Rover with everything at its disposal be as good as something that's road focused?
Okay. So in expectation setting terms, the Jimny cannot, for example, drive like a Brezza or a Creta or
it
Extra.
can't.
It just won't. And when you go off-road, then all of that capability comes to the fore. So now since we've kept you hanging for a while, let's talk about off-roading. How is the Jimny off-road? And you said the core DNA, narrow body, it all ties into that. So let's discuss that.
It's the basics. It's how focused they've been on what would make it great off-road, right? And they've been uncompromising about it. So this is the Gypsy's successor, and it's been a long gap in between. But in terms of the idea, it's absolutely the same, right? In terms of width, it's not much. It's not very long. It's not very heavy. All of those things. Like there's a comment in one of the videos or the post that we put. One guy's talking about the Gypsy that he owns, and he's refusing to believe that the Jimny can be as good or better, because the Gypsy's the most winning aspect is it goes where nothing else can go.
Right.
And if it gets stuck, 4 people can go in there, pick it up and take it out.
Right.
Right. So that has been the case so often that people who are using Gypsies can't find anything else as good, right? Because that formula is baked into the DNA. It's not about the power.
Right.
It's the combination of the size and the weight.
And you think that the Jimny is going to be able to achieve all of those things?
In fact, the Jimny in some ways is going one better because despite all the off-road ability, it's easier and nicer to drive. Even the way the suspension is working, right? It's got that 3-link suspension front, rear. It all works with a sense of softness to it, right? It's not hard.
So it's not bouncy like the Gypsy used to be.
Yeah, it's not. It's Gypsy has that firmness. You could feel everything, right?
Right.
The Jimny's not like that. You can really zip with it and casually. And
But when you turn up at your neighborhood market and you have 65 auxiliary lights on the front of the car and you've raised it 3 inches and widened it 24 inches, will how cool the Gypsy looked when you did all of that nonsense? Will the Jimny be able to pull off that kind of cool?
I think Jimny's appeal partly the Gypsy's appeal, over there was because of the open top.
Right.
Because when you turned up there with the open top, I think the hardtop versions could only do with 2 fog lamps at the front. The open top versions could go with as many as
So
you
there's
wanted.
no Jimny open top coming at all?
Not yet, at least.
Has Maruti actually denied the idea that there will be no open top Jimny, or if we just don't have any international versions?
I asked them about a 1.2 liter. I spoke to them about a rear-wheel drive. I did not ask them about an open top. That's a good question.
That's because you car enthusiasts are so stuck under your cars that you forget that there is a roof that you can mess with a little bit.
I actually wanted to have a roof. I don't want the open top.
Why not?
No, it's too much pain, man.
Not for you. I'm saying as an option available on the market for somebody who wants to just go to the market and look extra cool.
Shumi asked, I'll tell them.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
okay, let's sum this up. We'll drive the car obviously in more detail and we'll have to test it and we'll compare it, etc. Then we'll have even more real world city data in terms of how does it do.
There are a couple of things I'll add quickly before we wrap up. Because
you said lack of cup holders.
Oh my God. The storage inside the cabin is ridiculous. It's really like going back to the dark ages by today's standards where we say, armrest nahi hai, ya armrest ka angle galat hai, ya yahan pe wo soft touch nahi hai. It's got pretty much nothing. They've just put in a few slots here and there so they can at least tick off, we gave you a door pocket. It's just that much.
So you wear cargos if you're driving a Jimny so that you have storage.
Absolutely. Okay. The thing about the Jimny is this combination of its DNA, right, is the key to the entire experience. Because it's not about the horsepower, it's about the lightness, the width, the narrowness, all of that, right? It literally glides over the rough stuff. It doesn't struggle, it doesn't have to push its way through.
And it's easier to drive in those situations than the Thar.
It's way easier.
Okay.
It's far less intimidating, it's far more agile.
And do you do this over the bad roads the whole time?
No, that's what it's cleaner.
Okay.
Because it's lighter.
Okay.
It has less to manage.
So what we're saying is that this is a reasonably good car, but it's a niche car with a slightly higher price than people were expecting. And in that sense, it's probably not going to sell that well. So does that mean Maruti's opening up their line beyond just core mass market cars a little bit outside? Or does it mean there is a mass market SUV that we are not aware of that will come later and fill out what we perceive as a gap?
Another hardcore 4x4 or any form of a 4x4 like this, I don't think is going to happen. This is it. And if you have to think about this from a brand perspective, I think the Jimny could do a lot for Maruti because this is the car that could actually encourage a lot of people to go off-road.
Right.
Because of how easy and how effortless it feels.
Got it.
On that one drive experience, the number of people who by the end of the day were doing silly, which at the start of the day they would have not even thought of, was incredible. Everybody was driving around in places where they wouldn't have even thought of in the morning and all on their own. Right? That's the kind of confidence it gave everybody, including me. So it's a really impressive vehicle if you want to, adventure. Okay,
so should I go to an Arena showroom to check out one or the Nexa showroom?
It's Nexa.
Arena doesn't get it?
No.
Okay, no, I mean, I don't know what the difference is. I'm good with that.
It's lifestyle, so it's Nexa.
Right.
Simple.
It's lifestyle, so it's Nexa.
It's not utilitarian.
Okay, so we have a fairly clear picture of what the Jimny promises. I'm saying promises because we haven't actually tested the car. You drove the car for a few hours on-road and off-road in Dehradun, and this is your first report from it. So we will have more stories on the Jimny once we get a test vehicle here, at which point we can try and compare it with the Thar and give you more details about it, but you can help us prep for that situation. Leave us a comment, tell us what you thought of our discussion, how we might evolve this format and make it more useful to you, as well as specific questions you have about the Jimny versus Thar, so that we can take those questions up when we do that story in detail.
Or any other questions, honestly. If you want it compared with a Brezza, do you think it makes sense to be compared with a Brezza? What your expectations are? Some people were defending it, and
Already?
yeah, some people were taking it down, and some people were defending it. So whatever your questions are, hit us up. We'd like to answer those.
That's it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Last chance.
Last chance for the first episode of First.
Yes, last chance for the
I'm
first
good.
episode of First. They're absolutely on point.
I'm good.
Right, so first of all, thank you so much for watching.